What is good, people? Welcome back to another video. So we are cracking on with the Mk2 Golf again. If you have missed last week's vlog, we had an absolute colossal announcement to make, so make sure after you've watched this video you go back and check that one out. So if you're a new subscriber or if you've missed the upload, I mentioned that the car was attempting to kill me. When I was on the way back from Ultimate Dubs, the car was, it almost felt like I was driving down the road and someone in the passenger seat has attempted to pull the steering wheel. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, it's not great. I think the rear axle bushes are shot. We have bought ourselves a poly bush kit. This bush itself, compared to like your OEM manufacturers, these are fully solid, so they don't allow much movement. These last the life of the car. So these are on pretty much until the car dies, but we won't know until we get the car up. So that is exactly what we're going to do. It's one of those Mk2 Mk3 Golf things that it's like once you've done it you'll never have to do it again. So we're going to jack the front up, jack the rear, have a quick inspection, but ultimately we're going to be replacing them anyway. Hopefully that's cured the issue. We have bought a hell of a lot more suspension components. That will all be done in another vlog. Okay guys, so I was expecting the rear axle bushes to actually be destroyed, but they're actually in decent condition. Can't see any excessive play, and I can't see that the rubber bushes have split or perished in any way. Looking at the other side, I mean there's a slight split just there, but again I can't see any excessive play. Either way, we've got the bushes, we may as well put them on. Loosen the handbrake just so we can take the handbrake cable off, because obviously if we drop the axle this cable is going to go with it. We'll be disconnecting this brake line and then the same on the other side, so then this whole thing can pivot down. I'm just going to let it hang. I'll be disconnecting this bolt that the shock absorber's on, and then we'll start drilling out the old bush and then make way for the new one, guys. Rear axle is now loosened down, as you can see. This bolt on the right side that holds the rear axle into the mount was not fully tight. Why am I surprised at this point? Absolute cowboys. Anyway, rear axle bush is just here. What we need to do, we've got metal outside and then a rubber insert and another metal sort of sleeve here. What we need to do is drill out the rubber section, push that inner metal bit through. Then what we need to do is get a saw and then just cut out this outer section, tap it out, and then replace it with a poly bush. The poly bushes, the reason why people tend to go with poly bushes instead, it's not for performance, it's because they're actually easier to put in. These two sleeves and then two bushes, one's just behind me. So you put the bush in first, you push it in, it's actually very loose to put in. But when you put the sleeve in, it sort of opens out the bush, so it traps it inside. That's when it gives it a tight grip. If you was to put an OEM one in, you need a press tool, which means you'd have to take the whole rear axle out and take it to somewhere else to do it. But I can do it in situ. So I'm just going to drill both sections out and then we're going to be pressing the new one in, guys. Okay, my brilliant people. The offside axle bush is in. Just need to do the other side, and you don't really need to drill out the whole rubber section out, and I know this because my drill died halfway through. Getting it out, as you can see, I've drilled quite a few holes. That still wasn't good enough, but you do get a bit of this metal that protrudes, so I ended up bending it back on itself and using that as a leverage, and I just ended up smashing this bit that's got the flat lip and it just came out. But I'm sort of waiting for the drills to recharge, because although I didn't need them 100%, I think it did help because we've sort of chewed away certain rubber which allowed the bush to bend inwards. As soon as I've finished, the car's wheels were on the floor, it started raining. You honestly can't make it up. But either way, brakes have been bled, all of the nuts and bolts have been tightened, all the pipes are all installed, everything is semi-okay. Whether it's today or tomorrow, we're going to go for a road test, see how it drives. If it's going to be pulling to the side again, at least we've ruled out the rear axle bushers and they're all brand new. Then we'll move on to top mounts and then start swapping over ball joints, lower arms, all that stuff. But we will eventually get this car driving straight.
Next morning.
Right guys, rear axle bushers are on and we are on the road, seeing how it drives. I think first impressions, it has tightened up the back end and I can feel it a little bit. I don't think it's fully cured it, or has it? I don't think it's cured it, but nonetheless it has made a slight improvement. Because we've got the rear camber plates on, I put the near side on first, the body shop put on the offside on after. They didn't know at what angle I put it on. Because it's slightly adjustable, you can bring in your toe a little bit. They sort of guessed where they thought I might have put it, and we've just gone from there. So I think until we start replacing bits, once we've replaced all the lower arms, top mounts, ball joints, and then we've put on the track rod ends, then we'll send it for an alignment. It can't possibly still be wrong then, because all of the suspension has been replaced, all of the steering has been replaced. I can't see it being anything else causing the problem. Now what we're going to do, make our way back home. We'll get on with some more progress guys, because we've got a little bit more to do.
Later.
We have some dress-up bolts from a lad called Detail 34. Essentially what dress-up bolts are, a nice polished hardware that will go on the wings, bonnet hinge, we have slam panel, and then we have the top catch. So we're going to install those in today's video and see how the engine bay looks. I haven't done much with the engine bay because obviously we still have the standard engine in, but at some point we'll be ripping out this engine. We don't know what to replace it with yet. I've got a few ideas in mind. It obviously boils down to having the money for it. Obviously starting a new business, the last thing I want to do is be spending crazy money doing an engine swap and bits and bobs. So maybe hold off for that for now. But it is in the, what's the word? It is in the back of the mind of whether to do something with it. So let's chuck these on, see how they look, and we'll let you know. What do you think? Cleans up that wing very nicely. Just little subtle changes, you know, you can just see them, they're not sticking out too much to you. And when we get a new engine, when we sort all this situation out, we'll have this engine bay on show. Brand new bolts. You will probably question why I haven't took extra time and removed it, fully cleaned it out, just to make it look a little bit better. I think the main concern with this is until we've put the engine in, everything else can then get refreshed. I'll then take that off, maybe send it somewhere to get zinc plated, do the same with the bonnet catch, and then loads of other stuff in the engine bay. The thing with Detail 34, the guys who offered these polished bolts, is they can do any type of fastener, screw, bolt, washer, nut, anything, especially for the engine bay that you want. And so when we eventually do the engine swap, or whatever that may be, rocker cover bolts like these just here on that are exposed, these little clips, this bolt at the top, this nut just there, and then bits and bobs can get all polished up and they're going to look absolutely phenomenal. But let me know what you guys think. I am going to message them and see if they can get hold of the bottom bonnet catch. I'm sure they will, but I think I just need to ask them. Anybody wants any polished fasteners, bolts, nuts, washers, anything like that, give Detail34 a message on Instagram. I'll leave it just at the bottom of the screen now. Give them a message and let them know Project 7 sent you. Who knows, they might even give you a little discount. For the OG subscribers that have been around for over 2 years now, the old house that we used to work on the cars on didn't have a garage, and this is one of the reasons why wherever I live it's always got to have a garage. Because it is pitch black and it's raining, which means I can shut this door and I have my own space away from everybody and all the noise. In fact, the noise is actually quite calming. I'm so grateful that I was so stubborn with a garage. When we was thinking about moving out, for my requirements, the only thing it needed to have a garage. And I'm so glad and I'm so grateful that we managed to find a good house with a decent garage, because we have quickly outlived it. We could do with a bit more space, but yeah, I think we're doing so well so far. With the engine bay bolts now done, I think we've got to move on to something else. The next thing I want to work on is something that's been irritating me ever since we got this car. Dead common on the Mark 2s and Mark 3s, and it involves the interior, guys. So let's stick the lights on and we'll show you. So, stick the lights on. Half of the dash lights up. It's so annoying, and literally at night you can't actually see what speed you're going. So we're going to be fixing that today. So, what we need to do is take the fascia plate off, take all of the switches out, bring the clocks up, and then we'll talk a bit more about it in a minute. Right guys, there's no real reason for me to take out the whole clocks because the speedo drives at the back of it, but as you can see, this little pin just there and then this one just there, those are the bulbs. Obviously we're going to be replacing those with, wherever they've gone, there we go, some LED ones. So I replaced a set of these about 10 years ago, my old Mark 2, and it made a massive difference. At some point we're going to be going over all of the switches and replacing those too, but for now I could do with seeing what speed I'm going. So all we need to do is twist those off and then put the new ones on. Simple as that.
Many minutes later.
Alright, if we've done anything right, here we go. Look at the difference. Wow. So obviously the one on the left has been replaced with the LED. If we show you around the back, they literally just twist out. Oh my god, you can't even tell the right one's on. There is another option I could go. I'm going to leave it for now, but with the interior being grey with hints of blue and purple, I was going to get blue LEDs. What do you think? Do you think we're changing too much? Don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. All it is a normal bulb, and then in between the bulb and the screen is like a green paper which obviously deflects a green light. With blue I can just get some blue tint spray, tint the thing, and then kind of work it that way. I think maybe blue might be a little bit off-putting. Now I'm thinking of it now, I've seen some cars with blue lights and they can look a little bit too much. There is options as well with getting like OEM style, but they are lit. Rather than have two LEDs that shine a light in, it's backlit, so it looks like a Mark 4 Golf or anything like that. But yeah, either way, let's chuck the other side on, build everything back up and see how it looks. Well, there we go, guys. One easy modification, job done. And I know you guys are going to be asking me, oh dear, what LEDs they are, but they're very easy to do. Honestly, front fascia plate comes off, take all your switches off, speed stereo comes out, heater panel comes out, and then you can leave the clocks in situ. Just rest it forward because it pivots on like a hook. Bring it forward, especially on ones with a speedo drive. If your car's been converted to maybe a 180 or something like that, you won't have an issue. But these ones, the clocks are directly linked to the gearbox, and there's a cable that runs right in the back of it. So if you pull on that too hard, you can snap it and you'll lose your RPMs. I don't think you can even get them the wrong way round. And if you do, spin them around the other way. Easy little fixes, guys, easy little fixes. Make sure, if you aren't already, following all the social medias in the link in the description. And if you want to support this page just that little bit more and donate 20 pence a day, I have a Patreon, again, link in the description. Behind the scenes content, things that nobody else is going to see. We've got a couple of updates on that. You're going to see all the early access stuff. Any announcements I've got to make will be on that early. You get 5% off all Project 7 work. That is seat upholstery, wrapping, interiors, anything like that, 5% off. So if you are in the Patreon, it pays to just do that and then get some work done. So that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another video. Bye.